Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and for transparency I refer honourable members to my declaration in the members' interest, as at my point of election to this House I was still self-employed and with a little crossover of completing a couple of projects remained so before I completely ceased trading much earlier this year. And as someone that was self-employed for 15 years, I come to this debate understanding what self-employed people go through, the risks they take, often putting their own homes on the line in order to build a business. And most importantly, it is important for me to speak in this debate as there are some 12,000 registered self-employed in my constituency of Buckingham. Now, as self-employed and those that do take that risk to start their own business will always have my absolute respect and admiration. They are the wealth creators, not just for themselves, but the supply chains and the services they use in order to go about their trade or profession. They're the vital disruptors that propel competition and innovate. And those that take this worthy entrepreneurial path do so, as I have mentioned, at serious personal risk. Their own homes on the line. And it is because of that very risk that when crisis or disaster strikes, such as we have seen with coronavirus, they are left the most vulnerable when their trade cannot continue through no fault of their own. Now, I do want to put on record my absolute thanks and gratitude to the government for making available a support package that has supported 4,300 self-employed people in my constituency, receiving grants worth a total of £14.5 million. And it must be acknowledged that this government's COVID support scheme for the self-employed has been amongst the most generous in the world. However, like so many other honourable and right honourable members, I have heard far too many stories of those that have fallen through the gaps. And each and every freelancer, contractor, self-employed businessman or woman who has come to me at my surgeries or written to me has a different story to tell. And that is important, Mr Deputy Speaker, because it speaks to the wide diversity and vibrance of the way entrepreneurialism works and thrives. That not everybody fits into the sort of box that I fear HMRC officials would deeply love them to neatly sit. Now, our challenge moving forward is how we make up for those losses if we are to come together as a country and bounce back. And whilst I have argued in the past, and I have written to the Chancellor of the Exchequer and other honourable and right honourable friends in the Treasury calling for a support package, if it is the case that that retrospective package cannot be delivered, I urge my honourable friend on the Treasury bench and the whole Treasury team, as they look to the upcoming budget, to look at ways that we can stimulate the self-employed sector, that we can ensure that we are recognising them within the tax system, the risks they take, the costs they take, that not the value of every invoice is not necessarily profit. There is cost in there that needs to be taken into account, that dividends are a legal and legitimate way that people have paid themselves on the advice of their accountants for many, many decades. So let us find a way to support all of our self-employed and our freelancers and owner-directors of limited companies going forward and give them that stimulus to grow our economy.
Kerry McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I think that was actually an excellent speech from the Honourable Member for Buckingham, and I hope the Minister listens to him perhaps in a way that I haven't managed to make the Treasury listen to me so